Hi guys, it's Kiarako here, back with another speed build. This is a speed build of my interpretation of Rapunzel's tower from the story of Rapunzel. I think the story of Rapunzel is German, but this isn't really based on any specific type of architecture. It's not like based on any imagery either. Like, this doesn't look anything like the tower from Tangled. This is really just an off-the-cuff idea I had. I thought it'd just be fun to do a little fantasy build, a little tower. The inside of this tower, like the way I furnished it, probably isn't accurate. Well, I can say it's not accurate at all to what the original Rapunzel probably would have had in her tower, because I'm pretty sure that story's like medieval, I think. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But it's definitely old-timey, and the interior I did is still old-timey. There's nothing like modern in it. But there's like a, like a 1920s stove. There's there's definitely stuff that like in terms of the period would not work. But I had fun with it. It's just like my interpretation. I thought this would be a fun story to do. But yeah, here I'm setting up the tower. I'm on with this interesting design. I put this little like thing on the side with like a chimney sticking out. And that was just because like the tower by itself just looked kind of weird, just kind of plain and boring, just like a huge giant pole sticking out of the ground. So I wanted to give it some added shape, so I just put that thing on the side. And then there's windows on the top 2 floors. There's nothing on the bottom. There's nothing in the interiors on the bottom either, because obviously she can't access the bottom of the tower because she's like trapped at the top of the tower. And then I figured that one of those windows would just open up to let the witch climb her hair to get into the tower. That's the story, right? Like, is she a witch or is it just like a random lady? I think it's a witch. I'm gonna go from like my memory of Rapunzel's story, which is Tangled pretty much, and say that it's just a witch. But here I'm just putting in little decorations around the windows, just making the tower a little bit more complicated, because again, like, it's this kind of architecture is weird. Like, it's so, I don't know, it's just like a hexagon, like a really tall hexagon, so I wanted to break it up with some dimensions and just like some different shapes and stuff. I made it like this mossy stone feeling, which I thought, worked. It kind of looks a little bit medieval at this point, actually. But here I'm just putting in surrounding greenery, just making it seem like it's like dead in the middle of the forest with nothing around it. I didn't really put any pathways or anything like that. I figured that the witch would just like fly in on a broom or like just like walk through the woods randomly. I didn't really think there needed to be a path, especially since the witch would want this to be hidden, right? So to her, it's best if there's not a path, so no one will like randomly like come across the path and then follow it and find the tower. So it really is just dead ass in the middle of nothing. But I put a ladder to connect the top 2 floors. Usually I think her tower is interpreted as being just at the top floor, but I just gave her top 2 floors because, I pitied her. I'm giving her a little bit more space. Here I'm just breaking up the room, just giving her a small little bathroom. Then I'm gonna put in a door, just trying to find my wood grain here. My wood grain was honestly like all over the place in this build, but it ends up looking pretty good. I thought about putting in like stone or tile in the bathroom, but honestly I just left it as wood in the end because I just wasn't vibing with any of the stone. And here I'm just setting up the little mini kitchen for her. Like I said, there's like this stove that definitely would not have existed in the time that the story of Rapunzel was created. But whatever, it works, it fits. It's like an updated take of Rapunzel, I guess. But here I'm just putting in some decorations, just, things that she might have. I like that little like cloth wrapped present on top of the stove, like maybe it's something the witch gave her as a present. Because I'm going with, again, the interpretation of stories like Tangled or like Into the Woods, where the witch, takes care of Rapunzel like a daughter. I mean, obviously in Tangled it turned out not to be great of a relationship, but you know what I mean. Maybe she brings her presents sometimes. Put in a lot of plants in this place because obviously she's inside all the time, so I thought that she'd probably want a lot of greenery around her, so at least she gets some sense of, the outside world. And plus, having plants lets her have something to take care of, since obviously she has a lot of time a lot of time on her hands, so she needs to do something, and watering 1 million plants every day, it's definitely time consuming. So I gave her a lot of plants. Also gave her an easel. She's gonna be a painter because, again, she's got a lot of time on her hands, so she needs a lot to do. So I just gave her an easel, and then here I'm just putting in a little thing of canvases over here. Again, this is like roughly based on Tangled, where she like has like a million hobbies, because that just makes sense, right? Like if you were stuck in a tower your whole life and raised there, you know, you'd probably get bored and need like a lot of different things to do. I put that little statue of the female head there, and I thought it'd be interesting if like the witch like cursed the head so that she can like watch Rapunzel through the eyes of the marble head. If you guys saw that on the shelf. That was just like a weird abstract idea I had, that like maybe the witch like spies on her with magic and stuff just to like make sure she's still there and captive. And yeah, so that was a random idea I had. And then I just put in this little lounge couch thing, and then I'm gonna put in, let's see, some blankets and some what's that called? Just a blanket. Yeah, they're just blankets. Because, you know, she's probably cold in the tower. You know, it's high up, it's stone. I didn't really give her a fireplace, even though there's a chimney. I didn't really think that through, but, you know, it's fine. And then I'm just putting in some paintings on the wall. I figured that maybe some of these she painted, and then maybe some are just like gifts from the witch, maybe from like a market or something like that. And then I swapped that one out for a different painting. And then over here, I'm just gonna put in a bookshelf. Let's see, I think I just go with that one, yeah. Just put it against the wall. I'm just gonna decorate this pretty loosely with some books, some candles, stuff like that. I also imagine she's an avid reader because, again, she has a lot of time on her hands, so she probably reads a lot. Realistically, there'd probably be a lot more books in this build, but I just don't have a lot of book content, like book custom content that I like, because books can be very fickle with, you know, people just tend to give them color palettes that I don't love, so I don't usually, I just don't have a lot of books in this build. But imagine that there are, because she would read a lot, so, you know, you just use your imagination a little bit. And pretend that this shelf is just packed with books, even though it's obviously not. But I'm just giving her little knickknacks, little things, collectibles, little objects of sentiment, you know, stuff like that. Again, stuff that the witch probably brought her. And then here I am. Let's see, what am I doing now? Put a mirror on the wall, and then we're gonna move over here, just put another little shelf. More books, more little decorations. Let's see. What else did I put on the shelf? More books on the ground there. Oh, just books. Okay. See, like there is enough. There's like a sufficient amount of books. It's just like not, like she'd probably have like stacks and stacks and piles of books, realistically. And then there's a little painting I put on the wall that I figured maybe she painted. This bathroom was pretty cramped, so I only had space for like a tub and a toilet, so the sink she would use would just be in the kitchen. The bathtub is super cramped, but you know, it's a tiny bathroom, what can you do? And also, again, realistically, I don't know how she would have indoor plumbing or running water, but, you know, roll with it. We're just gonna have fun here. And then the upstairs area is gonna be her bedroom / you know, other living space. Yeah. So here I'm just decorating her bed, keeping it pretty simple. I really like this bed sheet. I've used it a lot. Throwing on some cracks on the wall, and then I wanted to have something like Entangled where she draws on the wall. The closest I could find was that drawing of the little girl there, and I still end up leaving that up there. I wish I had more custom content that had like wall drawings and not like wall paintings. Well, that didn't really sound clear. Like people actually drew on the wall and not like drew on paper and then hung it on the wall, if that makes sense. But I really couldn't find custom content like that, so I just ended up putting up some sketches she did and then the little drawing of the princess there. Just setting up a little side table there with candles and a book, and then I'm just gonna hang something on the wall. It's like a constellations poster, because I figured maybe she looks out the window at night and like looks at the constellations. Another little hobby that she would have, because obviously she'd have a lot of hobbies. And then over here I'm just gonna stick in a dresser. I didn't give her like a lot of like closet wardrobe space because I figured she really wouldn't need it. She's not going anywhere, so I don't know why she'd have a huge wardrobe. Stuck in a piano, which I thought, you know, made sense because, you know, the more hobbies, the better. And I also stuck a violin under there so she could also play the violin in her free time. And then over here, I'm just gonna put in some pillows. Maybe she just chills on the ground. I also wanted her to have a pet cat because I figured, you know, she'd be lonely and she'd probably ask her mother, the witch, for, you know, a little animal or something. So I just put in a pet bed in a second, not right now, let's see. Oh, I thought about giving her a fish, but I settled on a cat in the end, which I'm glad. I feel like a cat is way more of a companion than a fish. No offense to all you fish owners out there, I'm sure they're lovely, but I have a cat, and I would definitely want my cat to live with me if I had to be stuck in a tower my entire life. Gave him a little pet bed, some yarn to play with, and yeah, little food bowls, which are definitely not period accurate, those food bowls, but they're the only pet food bowls I had, so it's fine. And then over here, I'm just gonna stick in more decorations, little wall things. I don't remember what I put over here. I think just stuff on the wall. Little chalkboard, another painting she did. And that is the build. It was a very fast one. I mean, it's such a small space, but let me know what you guys think of this. It was pretty fun to do. Making the character of Rapunzel would be really interesting. I want to see if I could find like some really, really long custom content hair. Let me know if you know of any, because that would be really fun to do. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, as always, and I will see you next time.